My name is John Soulos, the Managing Director of Global Business Camps. It's truly my pleasure that you're joining me here today. What we're going to be looking at today is the business planning framework and the importance of the business planning framework to any successful business. Before I go there, however, I want to share one statistic with you. 88% of business failure actually comes from things we can control. Most people don't know that. What I've actually done is put together a really cool PowerPoint presentation on the business planning framework and the importance of the business planning framework. Let's go to it now. 88% of business failure is due to things that we can control, which is pretty interesting when you think about it. About 9 out of 10 businesses get into trouble from things that they have direct control over. And out of the 88% of failure areas, 32.1% comes directly from financial management or lack of financial management. So businesses aren't actually looking at their financial statements on time, they don't actually understand what they mean, and they don't actually respond in time and put certain strategies in place. The other thing is it costs 6 times more to get a non-customer to deal with you than it costs to get someone that already knows you and is already your existing customer to deal with you. So that's actually quite a costly area, and I've seen quite a few businesses actually go out and just constantly market to the cold marketplace, and they particularly ignore their own existing customer base, which, as I said, it costs 6 times more. So it's an interesting statistic. Only 14% of people would leave based on product, price and time. There is the other side of it is 68% of people would leave due to what they call perceived indifference. And for those of you that don't know what perceived indifference means, it's basically people feel that we don't care. So that completely changes the goalpost when you think about it. So it's not product, price and time, it's perceived indifference, or they feel we don't care. A fully systemized business is worth up to 86.7% more than an unsystemized business. Today, like I said, we'll be talking about one of these, and it's the business planning framework. What is the business planning framework, you'll say? Before I go there, however, we need to look at some interesting things. Lou Platt, the ex-CEO of Hewlett-Packard, put it this way. He said, whatever made you successful in the past won't in the future. I've seen so many businesses keep doing the things they've been doing for a long time because they've been working, or they believe they've been working. As Lou Platt puts it, you need to constantly look at what you need to be doing in terms of change to continue moving forward. Your competitors will always be changing to some extent, whether it's small or large changes. So we need to be constantly evolving, changing and growing. If we're not doing that, we're falling behind. When most people go into business, they have a dream. And talking to business people all over the place, Australia, New Zealand, the US and so forth, I always ask the question, why did you go into business? And the feedback that we constantly get is, hey, I went to business to do all of these things. I went into business to have freedom so I could be my own boss. I went into business so I could make profit, create wealth. I did it for my family, or hey, it's a lifestyle decision. We always get the fun aspect in there as well. I did it so I can have more fun because I wasn't enjoying where I was before. So as Michael Gerber says, they get an entrepreneurial seizure, they get into business. So when you tie all that in together, people get into business for the big freedom in the middle. They have their peace of mind, obviously their financial independence. And when we talk about fighting fires, taking care of the team, taking care of the customers, making sure your product and service is good and it works, and so forth. Banking the money, and so forth. Typically what we find with all the people that we talk to is the freedom is still there, however the picture is slightly different. They still have the freedom in the middle because they can sort of come and go as they please. The peace of mind and financial independence is there, however the fighting fires is a lot larger than what they initially anticipated. So basically, they get consumed doing the things they think they need to be doing. They get consumed working in the business and not on the business. And from our experience, the more you work in a business and not on it, the more the business will not grow. It will keep working to a point, but it can't grow anymore because the driving force isn't there, because you're too busy putting out all the fires. You're too busy looking after the team, you're too busy looking after the products, you're too busy running to the bank, banking the money, you're too busy opening up and locking up at night. As Tom O'Toole, the Beechworth baker, puts it,
Most of us go into business with big aspirations, but in time we actually forget what they are, because once again we get consumed doing it. We get working in the business and we forget about our dreams and goals and the structure moving forward. What needs to be in place are all of these things, but as you can see, they come at you from every angle. So most people go into business thinking it's going to work. I understand how to run a business, but as you can see, you've got to think about your vision. You've got to think about finance. You've got to think about your business, but it all comes at you, and typically it consumes people. So what we've actually put together is what a business planning framework, and I like to term business in regards to structures, and what better structure could I have chosen? Basically, what a structure is exactly like a business. And as you can see, there are external factors or an external environment that impacts the structure and the business. There are government bodies and other areas. So the business and obviously the structure need to have a long-term strategic thought process on how long this building is going to be here for, or how long the business is planning to be around. So we need to get the foundation prepared correctly, and it needs to set correctly. So very important. We then have the pillars. They all stand in place. It's a shorter term if you look at it compared to the foundation, because that is there for the long haul. That's got to hold the whole thing together. So the pillars are very important. So that they get in place, and that's the stuff. And I'll term it in a little while. But that's the stuff that you've got to constantly get right moving forward. But it's more shorter term. Then there's obviously the operational. It's the thing you see, the roof. If there is an issue with the structure, with the business, you will notice it with the roof, because it's actually out in the open, it's facing all the elements, it's the first thing you saw. So if it's crumbling or there's water coming through it, you will notice it. How we put that together is vision, the mission, and the core values. And in vision, what we're basically saying is, hey, where do you want this business to be going forward? What is the 5 to 10 year outcome for this business? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? How many people do you want to have? How many locations do you want to be in? The mission, on the other hand, is what did we set this business up for? And the core values are what are core to us. So if it's awesome customer service that's core to us, that needs to be as part of our core values. Most businesses don't look at those three areas. They leave them to chance. And what happens when you leave them to chance, the team doesn't really know where you're going. The customers don't really know where you're going. So that can be an issue. So we've got to look at this stuff. In terms of structure, how is the business structured? Are you ready to take the next step? Is it going to last the test of time? Strategy. Have you thought about where you want to go and how you're going to get there? Remember, the vision tells us where we want to be in 5 or 10 years' time. The strategy will actually help us get there. Most people don't sit down and plan, don't sit down and think through the process. They just go to work, open up, and hope the customers will come in, hope the team hangs around, and hopes the business will go where they want it to go. So, very important. This is the foundation of every business. You cannot leave that to chance. Then we have the pillars. Leadership. Very important area. Leadership is the individual or individuals out the front that everyone is looking to. There is no point being a leader and saying, hey, this is where we're going to go and this is how we're going to act, and then acting and going in a different direction. It's going to give people mixed messages. It's going to give your customers mixed messages. It's going to give your team mixed messages. So being a leader is a critical area. People look for leaders to drive the business and drive the process forward. Marketing and sales. Most people think that they're in business to sell a product or a service, or to actually provide something. We actually are. But we're actually in business, if you think about it, to market and sell the things that we have. So marketing and sales is a very important area, and we should be looking at strategies to actually get better market share, to actually be able to get some sales processes in place to be able to offer these things to our customers. Products and services. We've got to look at our products and services. Do they meet what the market wants? Are they up to standard? So our team is one of the most important assets in any business. So we've got to look after our team. We've got to build them, we've got to educate them, we've got to give them the resources they need to look after our customers. Because when we look after our customers, that in turn looks after our business. We've got to focus on culture. Most CEOs put culture up there as one of the key criteria for having a successful business. If we haven't got the right culture, our business won't go where we want it to go. Our customers won't get what they need. So culture is something we've got to focus on, and most businesses don't actually look at it. Customers, and when I talk about customers, it can be clients, patients, customers, they're all the same, they're customers. They're the people that come to us for an outcome, a solution, a goal, or something they need. We have to take care to make sure we provide them what they need, and we don't let them to go down to the competition and get what they want. So we've got to look after our customers.
You've got to make sure you've got your systems and processes right, because without proper systems and processes, things tend to fall over. So it's really important that you look and you get those things in place.
Finance and budgets. One of our friends says which business or which manager runs a business without looking at the numbers. So they're very important. You've got to constantly know where the numbers are at. You've got to, and one of our sessions we'll be looking at analysing a profit and loss. Most people say, wow, what is a profit and loss? I understand how it is, but I don't understand what comes in behind it, what things I can control, what things I can't control. So we're going to be looking at that. But on the other side of the finance and budgets is actually the budgets. You should be sitting down and projecting out 1, 2, 3 years forward on what your budgets are going to be. Because without that, you don't really know whether you're going to get into any strife. So what you should be doing is projecting out your numbers for 1, 2 or 3 years, and then each month comparing your budgets back to your finance area, which is your financial statements, your profit and loss, and your cash flow. So that is something that every business should be doing. If you're not doing that, please do that right away, because it's important. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to do all this other stuff. You're going to run out of money potentially. We've seen businesses that make quite a bit of profit, but in turn run out of money because they actually haven't compared their budgets with their actuals. They haven't actually put the things in place that they need to put in place. Then there are the key performance indicators. Sitting up the top on the roof, as I said previously, the things you see first. Every business should have up to 5, 6 or 7 key performance indicators. And with that, what we're saying is you should be tracking exactly what needs to be tracked. So key performance indicators are important. I often get this said to me, so much to know. How can we put some structure around it? Where do we go with all of this? What we've actually done is we've put together the 6 secrets to any business. And this tries to pull everything together, because as you saw, there's quite a bit of information there that you need to get over. And the way we've done it is we basically say you've got to begin with the end in mind. And beginning with the end in mind is all about your vision, your values, your mission, your culture, your leadership. Secret number 2 is planning for success. That is your strategic stuff and your structure, and also your financial budgeting, your projections, your profit and loss and cash flow budgets. Secret number 3, growing your business. They are the 5 key business building strategies, and over session 2 and 3 we'll be delving into those. They're all the things that you need to put in place to grow a business, and trust me, there are only 5 key business building strategies. Doesn't matter which way you look at it. Secret 4, managing your business. It's all about the financial statements. Remember what I said, that the last pillar was finance and budgets. So financial statements need to be prepared on a regular basis and then compared back to your financial budgeting. If you don't do that, you could be missing out on opportunities. If you don't do that, you may not notice things creeping up on you. Then in this area, there are what we term critical success factors and key performance indicators. And remember, the roof of the Parthenon, or the business planning framework, was the key performance indicators. You've got to look at that. Secret number 5, valuing your business. Most businesses or most owners don't look at the way their business is valued. We've actually built a little calculator that actually helps you value your business each year. It helps you keep track of where your business is headed. As in anything, business is all about risk and return. If we can decrease the risk, we can increase the multiple, we can increase the value of our business. So we look at that, and that is part and parcel of running a successful business. We've also developed a little spreadsheet that's based on the value gap test. And what we talk about there is that most people think their business is worth so much. Let's say they think it's worth $1 million or $2 million. But when we actually start working through the process, because they're missing certain ingredients in their business, they realize that their business is not worth what they thought it was worth, and therefore there is a value gap. The aim then is to close that value gap. So, and that can be done. It doesn't matter what phase you are in your business life, what phase your business is at, that can be done. Secret 6 is all about freedom, and there we talk about team, the 5 steps to successful succession. And when we talk about the 5 steps to successful succession, the important thing you must understand is that a business should always be ready for sale. Now, you might say, what is he talking about? But what I'm saying is a business always must be ready for sale, whether you want to sell it or not. So it should always be in great working order. It's like our houses. We get our houses ready for sale. We get our houses looking fantastic when we're about to sell them, so someone else can come in and enjoy the benefits. Let's not be the ones that do that. Let's get our business ready for sale now. Let's enjoy the fruits of what we've put together for as long as we want to keep our business. One day we may want to sell it. The other thing we look at there is personal development. It's very important as individuals that we constantly develop ourselves, whether it's our team, whether it's us as business owners or other stakeholders. We've got to constantly learn. That's how we've pulled the business planning framework together. We've put it together into the 6 secrets, because as you can see, there is so much to learn. This stuff that I'm talking about applies to any business. This is Baptist Healthcare in Florida, and the interesting point out of that is back in the late 1990s, they changed the way their business operated. And most people that I talk to about this say, well, hang on, how can a hospital do this sort of stuff? A hospital is there to take care of their patients. The way Baptist works is they actually have started measuring their satisfaction percentile, and you can see that in the top left-hand corner, where in the early mid to late 1990s, the percentile of satisfaction was pretty low. But when they started putting systems and processes and they worked out their strategy of where they wanted to go, they got their leaders involved, they got their team involved, they got their culture right, their satisfaction went through the roof. They keep getting feedback now, even through the global financial crisis. As you can see, it dipped a little bit, but mainly their satisfaction of their customers is up in the 90%. On the bottom right hand side, you can see the difference in the profit. So their business has gone from 0.8% of turnover profit to 3.24% of turnover profit, even through the global financial crisis. And they've had a couple of hurricanes up there and stuff like that. So they've been through some tough times, but what that basically says to us is that if we get our strategy right, if we get our structure right, if our core values are in place, if we've got the right vision and mission, we've got our leadership, we've got our team involved, look after our customers, look what we can do. That is really an amazing picture of what we're talking about. Dell, another interesting situation. Michael Dell, for 18 years or thereabout, ran the Dell organization, and he would say that we constantly need to get feedback from our customers on how we're doing things. So he would get his team to jot down on a notebook every week as much information as they could, customer complaints, customer issues, customer feedback. On a Thursday morning, he would actually then ask the team to bring the notes in. He would take them away, have a look at them, and over the course of Thursday would determine one key area that he felt that they should be targeting. On the Friday morning, between 7:30 and 8:30, he would call that relevant team member in and say, hey, you own this situation. This is the problem that was responded to you, or the feedback was given to you. Let's work out a way to solve this. When the new CEO came in, when Michael Dell stepped down, the new CEO actually stopped that process straight away. And over a 3-year period, their customer service complaints increased. Customer response took 3.1 calls to get something fixed instead of their target was 1 call. So Dell would say, well, if a customer's got a problem, we want them to ring us once and we would solve it. With the new CEO, because of the way the strategy worked, because he changed the Thursday morning get-togethers and he changed the feedback, the calls were taken 3.1 times. Profits dropped. Hewlett-Packard took the lead. Michael Dell came in. They actually got rid of the CEO. Michael Dell's moved back in and re-instigated the Thursday morning get-together. So it's all about getting as much information as you can. Their strategy was, let's look after the customer. Ritz-Carlton have got a number of key things that they look at, and their mission and their performance standards are all about looking after the customer. And they say, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. This is part of their strategy. They want to be different in that respect. They also say, hey, we've got a smile, we're on stage. It's all these little things. Any employee who receives a complaint owns the complaint. If a customer or a guest needs directions, don't just point out where the gym is, for example, or where the cafeteria is, or where the restaurant is. Take them there. So everyone has buy-in. The team, the culture, the way the business is run is completely different. And that's why they're ahead in the game. Southwest Airlines. Their stock exchange listing code is LUV, love. And you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner. For over 30 years, they've been one of the most profitable airlines in America. They're the largest airline in America now. And their philosophy is take great care of our team, get our team engaged, get our team involved, and they will in turn take awesome care of our customers. So their strategy from the start and their vision and mission was let's really do this. Let's really get the team engaged. Let's provide what we can for these people. Let's make their experience memorable. So they've dramatically changed the way the airline industry works. An example from Brisbane, Paddy Lund. Some people call him the crazy dentist. An interesting statistic is that in dentistry, it has one of the highest rates of suicide of any profession. I didn't know that until I read a book about it. But what Paddy decided after a number of years of being depressed and not being happy was that his business needed to change. His strategy wasn't working. He wasn't comfortable in where he was going. So what he did was he went to work, got rid of all his signs, chopped up his reception desk, implemented fine teas, as you can see in the bottom right hand picture, a big coffee machine. And he basically said is that people don't come to the dentist to look at your $200,000 equipment that you've got. It's the little things, the other things that you can take the focus away. It's the customer experience. Now, Paddy works 23 hours a week, less than a lot of dentists, makes probably about 3 times the money. The money's not the issue here. The issue is what he's done to re-engineer his business. So, we've come a long way in our first get-together. These are the things we've looked at. And the examples that I've looked at, I have tried to touch on some of this stuff. And it's important. You should constantly go back to this picture and look at the areas that you need to be focusing on. Remember the 6 secrets. Remember how we've pulled it together. Next time we get together, we're going to be looking at the business growth model. I'm not going to tell you what that is, and it is an interesting way of looking at your profit and loss is all I'm going to say. To unlock the true potential of your business, you've got to decide you want to do something different from what you've already been doing. You've got to believe that there can be a different outcome. You can't sit there doing the same thing today as Lou Platt said, because your competitors are doing things differently. You've got to do something different to get a different result, a different outcome. Do not fail to implement. It's critical that you don't sit there and say, well, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it another day. You've got to take some action. You've got to be accountable. You can find someone that can be a mentor, a coach, or someone you can bounce things off. Your advisors, you can probably refer to your advisors if you want there. But most of all, you've got to make it happen. You've got to make it happen for yourself. You've got to make it happen for your business. You've got to make it happen for your team. You've got to make it happen for your customers overall, because they are the most important people along with your team in your business. That's the end of our first video. I know you would have got a number of great ideas out of it. Our next video is all about the business growth model. If you haven't in the meantime, sign up for our newsletter over here on the right, and we'll let you know as soon as that video comes out.